lot of visiting, a lot of looking at houses, looking at everything. I feel like I haven't slept or haven't stopped in the 5, 6 days I've been here, but it's been really fun. My family, my mom, my girlfriend's mom were here. They left Saturday, so it was fun to have them too here.
And Dan kind of alluded to it. Doesn't seem like there's an event going on that you're not at. Just what are your first thoughts of the city?
Yeah, I've been everywhere. It's been great. The team's taking great care of us, showing us as much as possible, taking care of us, scheduling it as it's been very clear. It's been great to get to know all the neighborhoods and all the areas. I've obviously been here before, but when you're here to play and you have a day off, you don't necessarily travel all around. You're just kind of staying close or going to one activity or something like that. So it's been great to see everything. I feel like it's going to take a couple of years to actually get to know the area more, but I've had a great time.
You still haven't picked up that Dodger hat yet, though.
Sorry?
You still haven't picked up the Dodger hat, though.
No, it was a big win. I saw a thing, it was 2-0. The Galaxy won, the Dodgers won, so I'm going to have to keep going to the games. I'll be back for training camp, so I'm sure I'll be out there again.
Pierre, you talked about some of the camps that you came out to here before. What were they? I mean, was like CAA? Were there other camps that you were out here previously?
Yeah, I went to 2 CAA camps here when I was 16, 17, and when you're that young, you're just trying to make it to the NHL. You're not thinking otherwise. We saw the facilities when we were here, so I remember that a bit. I remember going to the beach and having a great time, and my dad was able to come to one of them. He had a great time. So it's crazy how almost 10 years later I'm playing here. So it's it's really crazy when I think about it.
Yeah, maybe it was just the beach or whatsoever, but I mean, was there other things about just LA that just even appealed to you then? You talked about it even after the trade, that just the city and the nature of it whatsoever just kind of appeals to you. What is it about?
I mean, there's a lot to like about this city and this area. You wake up every morning. The time change kind of threw me off a bit at first, and I wake up at 6:30 and I just go outside and go for a nice little walk just to be able to do that and see everything, go to the beach. Walk around and see all these neighborhoods. Obviously hockey's our job, and our job's to go on the ice and help the team win and eventually hopefully win a Stanley Cup. But you also spend time away from the rink, and this city, it feels like you can never be in a bad mood, or if you are, you go home and everything's changed. So it's been a great experience to be here in a hockey environment at times, but also discovering the city in a non-hockey way, and that's been fantastic, and I've had a really good time.
Follow up on that, is it just the nature of it? Is it the cosmopolitan feel or
Yeah, I'm somebody, I love to try new things. I love to discover new areas, new restaurants, coffee shops, neighborhoods, you name it. I think traveling, because my dad's a hockey coach. I feel like we moved around a lot when I was a kid, and to be in a city like this where you drive 30 minutes and it feels like you're completely in a different area. Different experiences everywhere. And the recommendations that everybody's made to us of you should try this spot, this place, and it's all 20, 30 minutes away. It's I still haven't wrapped my head around this whole thing yet, but I'm extremely happy.
I'm assuming you've had a chance to sit down with Todd this week and talk a little face to face?
Yeah, I met him. I know this is a big week for development camp and everything. I got the chance to meet him in the gym, and we talked a bit. We're going to talk a bit more, I'm sure, before training camp and all that, but it was just nice to, we talked on the phone after the trade happened, but it was nice to finally talk to him face to face and meet him and meet out, honestly, everybody here, the whole staff. The phone call is great, but it's always obviously better in person.
The presumption is that you're going to be playing with Kevin Fiala. Did that come up at all in the conversation?
No. Yeah, he wanted to keep it as he knew it was a bit hectic week and a lot of information, so he wanted to keep it as light as possible. And said as training camp goes on and as we get closer, then I'm sure we'll go more into details. But he wanted to keep it as light as possible.
Gil, I know when you go back, you've got your golf foundation event coming up. I wonder if you could just share a little bit about your foundation and why it's important to you to be involved.
Yeah, I'm going back tomorrow morning, then leaving the next day for that. I'm excited. It's going to be the first time since COVID, with the restrictions that we all had, so it just wasn't possible. But it's a foundation that I started doing when I turned 19 after my first year. It was always something in the back of my mind. It was a foundation I used to go to when I was a kid. I was 13, 14, 15. We'd have a foursome with me and my 3 other friends. Had a great time, and then it was always kind of in the back of my mind. So after my first season, I knew it was something I'd eventually like to do, and the opportunity presented itself, and I felt like a perfect fit. So it helps kids in my region of where I lived in Rimouski. We get equipments. The kids fill out an application. We give them the equipment, and when they're done with it, they give it back. If we can reuse it, we reuse it, and it's just a cycle. And a lot of times, it's not even for organized hockey. It's just to go out there and play hockey on the outdoor rinks because it's cold out there, so you can't skate in the summer and the winter on the outdoor rinks. So a lot of times, it's just that, and little leagues and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to get that going for the first time in I think 4 years on Thursday.
It's great that now that you're kind of in a position to be able to give back, you have the opportunity to do that with something that's clearly very close to you because you grow up kind of involved.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been lucky enough to be around positive influences in my life. It used to be the Vincent LeCavalier Foundation, so that's kind of where I got the idea. Then you always see guys around the league and guys around other sports and all that that do stuff in their communities, and I think we're in a position where we're doing our dream job and we're obviously happy with that, but we're in a position where we can help people and help people in need, and sometimes it's hockey, sometimes it's not even hockey, it's just life. So I'm happy that I get to do that in Rimouski, and I'm sure I'll have plenty of opportunities to do that here in Los Angeles.
Did you grow up speaking English?
Yeah, my mom's American. She's from Atlanta. So you should hear my dad talk. It's very different. He's from Quebec. So
How did
yeah,
you meet?
he played for the Atlanta Knights in the IHL at the time, and yeah, so she's from there. I grew up in Quebec, so I grew up going to school in French, but then we'd always come home in English because my mom can speak French, but it was always easier for her to just stay in English, so we'd come home and speak in English at home and watch TV and all that. So I feel like the perfect mix of both worlds.
You said that your dad was coach and you moved around a little bit. Where all did you live?
Well, I mean, my first year of my life we're in England, and then Germany, and then we were in Montreal for a year, Baie-Comeau for 5 or 6, Rimouski, and then at 15 I moved away for hockey, and then ever since then 16. So a lot of places, but I think it helped me and prepared me for this life of hockey where you can potentially always be on the move. So it's helped me a lot, I think.
Being coach's son, I imagine he had a strong influence on you as a person, as a player. I know Sebastian Lagrange, you've worked with since you're, 15?
Yeah.
Can you just talk about those relationships and maybe any others that have really helped form your career thus far?
Yeah, like I said, I've been very lucky to be around so many positive influences. I think obviously it starts with my dad, but my mom too, who didn't really know hockey, but she always supported me, drove me to the rinks and all that. And my dad never forced me, never pushed me. It was always just natural that I was interested in knowing more. And I remember when I was a kid, he'd do video with his teams, and the night before he'd be preparing it, and before bed he'd show it to me and present it to me in a way, and he'd ask me questions just for fun. And those are great memories I have of with him. But yeah, and then when I was 16, he told me, if you want to make it to the NHL, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices at some point, and this could be a time where you might have to move away to get better training, and that's what I did. I moved to Montreal and started training with Sebastian, and our relationship has really developed through the years where at first he was my trainer and now he's a really good friend. So yeah, I've been really lucky to be around people like that, and I'm very fortunate to have those people in my life.
There was so much talk about you playing for the Canadians, whether in the past year, 3, 5, whatever length of time. How did you digest all of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many rumors, so many things floating around. I think as a player, as a person, mostly, there's times where you just want to grab the microphone and say something, but also you have to remain patient. You have to remain positive. There's a lot of things that were said that I didn't necessarily say or didn't necessarily agree with, but that's just part of the job at times. It can be less fun at times, but it's still part of it. So I'm extremely happy to be a King. The whole process was a long process, and once I found out that the Kings were interested and all that, it became a very obvious and easy decision for me.
In talking with people around the league that know you, I mean, even though you're not showing it very stately, a lot of people said that they feel like you have something to prove here. And, beyond the obvious goal of winning the Stanley Cup, what are you looking to show or accomplish, not only as a player, but also as a team player, as part of the broader goal?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, to be able to get an 8-year deal and be with the LA Kings, the only thing I see is my only job is to win a Stanley Cup, and it's to help win a Stanley Cup. I feel like I'm an old young guy at times. I've played 6 seasons. I just turned 25. I still have a lot to learn, but I feel like I have a lot of experience, and to be able to come to this group and help the younger guys, learn from the older guys. I feel like really the last thing the number one thing on my agenda is just to win the Stanley Cup, and I'm really looking forward to helping the group in whatever way I can and whatever position they need me to be and whatever kind of player I need to be for this team. But that's to be honest, that's the only thing that's on my mind, and it's really exciting.
The Kings have put a lot of faith in you, be it the players they send to Winnipeg to acquire you or the contract that they sign you to. Are you someone that enjoys and thrives off the pressure that kind of thing brings?
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of pressure on myself already. I'm somebody that I think I know when I played a good game, I know when I played a bad game, but you can always be better. And scoring goals is great, getting points is great, but winning the hockey game is the most important thing. And there's a lot of things you can do to win a hockey game or have an influence on your team to win a hockey game. I look at a guy like Kopitar, and he's a guy that when I was younger and still to this day, the things that he does on the ice, sometimes he doesn't get all the recognition that he should or the attention that he should, but he's won 2 Stanley Cups. That's the goal. Whether you finish your career with 800 points or 843 points, and if you didn't win, you didn't win. And that's the only thing on my mind. And to be around this group and all of the things I've heard this week, I haven't met everybody from the players yet, but the guys that I have and the people that I have, the only thing on everybody's mind here is to win, and nothing else matters. So that's really positive for me to be in this environment, and an environment like that where a great season's fun, but winning a Stanley Cup is really the only goal.
And I know you said you've had a couple brief conversations with Todd, but how familiar are you with his system and what he expects from his players?
Yeah, I mean, we kept it light both times. I think he knew it was a hectic environment, but yeah, I mean, playing against the Kings was never fun, so it'll be great to be on the other side of it this time. Like I said, to win a Stanley Cup, I think you need a mix of everything. You need good offensive play, good defensive play, and good goalies, and I think the Kings have that. So it'll be really exciting to get to know everything more, the systems and all that, and just hop on the ice with everybody.
How much have you spoken with either Andre or Phil?
Yeah, I spoke to Andre right when I got traded. Spoke to Phil a few times. I've known Phil. It's funny. I feel like we've kind of always known each other, but haven't had time to be around each other more. I'm gonna go see him in August with him and his family, so that'll be fun. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great player, great competitor. I'm really looking forward to playing with him and getting to know him more.
Do you see this as an opportunity to write, I guess, a different narrative for yourself? I mean, a lot of people, it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it. I mean, a lot of people have this thing of, that's the guy that's asked for, trades twice and is on his 3rd team at 25. So do you see this as an opportunity to write a different narrative?
I mean, honestly, I think it's just an opportunity for me to be who I am. I think I'm misunderstood at times, but I think a lot of people don't really know me, and that's fine. It's sometimes in this world, it's hard to get to know guys. My mom always tells me to show my personality more in interviews, but sometimes you can't. So it's I think now it's it'll be a fun opportunity for me to just be who I am and not show anybody, not prove to anybody, but just fully be me. And there's always going to be people that aren't happy, or there's always going to be people that disagree with what you do, but that's just part of our business. At the same time, I'm not trying to live my life for how others think I should do it. I have my goals, my dreams, what I want, and I'm just extremely happy to be here and to be here for a long time, and just show really who I really am, and not just an image of what people think or people that they think they know me.
Pierre, what does that mean when you say that people misunderstand you? What do they misunderstand about you?
Yeah, I think obviously with the demanding a trade out of Columbus and then this situation with Winnipeg, I think everybody lives their lives differently. Everybody looks at those decisions, and some people agree, some people disagree, some people think this, some people think that. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But at the end of the day, it's my life. I have to do what I think is right, and I had 3 unbelievable years in Columbus, 3 great years in Winnipeg, where both organizations I learned a lot and met some unbelievable people. But I felt like those two, I was ready to move on and do a new chapter in my career and in my life. And now I'm here in LA, where I signed an 8-year deal, and I couldn't be happier.
Is that one of the reasons to sign an 8-year deal, besides the money part of it? But there's a no movement clause that's in there as well. And is it really to maybe shut down some of that narrative in that conversation and say, no matter what you think, that's in the past? I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, I don't really live in the past. I try to live in the moment, and the 8-year contract, obviously you get to look in the future a bit. But I think the opportunity to be able to build and help build and help maintain the culture of winning is something that's really interesting. I'm 6 years into my career. I'm 25. Like I said, sometimes I feel young, sometimes I feel old, depending on the situations. But yeah, the opportunity to build something special with a team is something I'm really looking forward to. And to be able to be here and, like I said, meet everybody here and to hear what the objectives are, it's been really great.
You're coming off career high in points, so what do you need to work on? You want to be a fairly goal scorer, more assists, better than the faceoff circle? And what do you want to do to take it to the next level for you?
I'd love to do a bit of everything more. I think that's the goal. You look at the guys on this team, like I said, like a guy like Kopitar, who does a bit of everything out there. You can score goals to help your team win. You can also block a shot. You can also win a face-off. There's a lot of things that you can do that don't necessarily appear on the stat sheet, but at the end of the day, it's going to help your team win. So I think there's a lot of things that I can improve on as a player. I know there's a lot of things I can improve on as a player, and I'm, to be able to work with the staff and these players is another reason that I'm really happy to be here. To be able to learn from these guys is going to be great. But yeah, I'll never stop learning. So I'm just happy to be here.
We talked a lot about LA and how the city itself made you want to sign here, but what about this organization? I know players talk about the best organizations to play for. Was there anything about the team as a whole that made you want to come here and sign for 8 years?
Yeah. All the conversations that we had, obviously, it was sometimes a little complicated to talk before because of the rules and all that. But everything I've heard from players that have played here, from players that have friends that have played here, I called Gavrikov when all this was happening just to see what he thought, and everything I've heard from this organization is, they want to be the best. They want to be the best on the ice. They want to be the best off the ice, and they want to do everything right, whether it's with us, with our families, with everything. And I think as a player, obviously you want to win a Stanley Cup. You also want all that extra stuff that comes with it, and everything that I've heard from this organization and experienced this past week, or even from the moment I got traded, has been unbelievable, even better than I could have expected. So it's always reassuring to have stuff like that around you.
You've obviously created your own career, your own name, your own life apart from your father, but at this point, how much of an asset do you see him as in counseling you? He knows the industry, he knows the reputations of organizations. How often do you go to him for advice? Yeah, it's, my dad my whole life, there's times where he lived in a different city because he worked somewhere else and our family we couldn't move, but I've always talked to him after basically every game. We talk almost every day,
obviously a lot about hockey because that's what both our lives are, but we also talk about a lot of other things. But yeah, my dad's, he's probably the most influential person in my life, and always supportive no matter what my decisions are. Like I said, whether we agree or we disagree, it's always fun to have him behind me and supporting me and helping me out. So I'm very thankful, and obviously my mom too. But it's been great to have him in my corner.
You already have some go-to restaurants?
Oh man, I only went to one restaurant because we had the Dodgers game, and we went to Nobu in Malibu yesterday. So that was kind of our treat for the whole week. We had a great time. I mean, like I said, I feel like it's gonna take a couple of years to really figure out this city and to figure out our favorite spots.
You mentioned being aware of the narrative that some people built about you. You've had people question your character and your personality. How hard is it to just put your head down, not worry about that, people bad mouth you like that, just play hockey?
Yeah, I mean, I've always known that in the world of hockey, stuff like this can happen. Like I said, at times you just kind of want to go out there and say something or make a statement, but you can't or you shouldn't. So you have to stay patient. I think also with social media, it's just so easy to give an opinion, and sometimes the most outrageous opinion gets the most attention. That's just how social media is. So for me, it was probably a little harder before. Now it's just kind of I'm used to it. It's more, I think, hard for your family than anything because they want to defend you. They want to say that's not who you are, but like I said, sometimes you can't or you shouldn't. And like I said, I think when people get to know me, they realize it's very different than what they thought it would be.
That's an incredibly mature attitude to have about it, and one that I know that I myself and other people in this room could work on. Where does that awareness come from?
This is the last question, guys.
Probably my dad. I mean, there's times you read stuff and you're like, wow, that's not me, or I never said that, or I would never say or do or think that. But like I said, in this day of social media, sometimes the most outrageous comments win. They get the most attention, and with my family, with my friends, with everybody around me, like I said, I feel like I'm extremely lucky and fortunate to have a really positive group of people supporting me and helping me. And you don't do it alone. You do it with those people. So there's times where it was hard, and there's times where my group lifted me up and helped me get out of that. And I'm just very grateful. Obviously, there's my dad, but there's really a whole cast of people that have helped me out throughout the years.